A Lloydminster mom plans to change rage to radiance as she hosts a women's breathwork circle at the Human Habits this Sunday that focuses on mom rage and mom guilt. Our Astarte Lazo has more.
Today I'm joined by Alyssa Wack, or Higher Conscious Babe, who's hosting the upcoming Women's Breathwork Circle Healing Mom Rage event at the Human Habits this Sunday, March 9. Thank you so much for joining me today, Alyssa.
Yes, thank you for having me. Um, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm still like it's just something so close to my heart. I think that it's also just like I feel excited to talk about it and share.
So my first question would be this looks like an event for moms and healing mom rage, as you said in the title. And so would you please elaborate more on that?
yeah, so personally, yelling and experiencing, I'd never really heard the word mom rage until I started seeing other moms talking about it anonymously in a group that I realized, oh, like that there's a name for it. So for me personally, it was just something that I really struggled with, where I would find myself reacting or behaving or saying things that I would often feel a lot of guilt and shame for afterwards. And I found myself saying things like, I'm really sorry, I won't yell. And I would do all these things that would say or suggest that it was going to help me be able to stop yelling, because it was just the worst feeling in the world to see, especially when she was so little. The little, like, it was a look of terror on her face, and knowing that, like, I'm supposed to be her mom and protect her. It was awful. There would be nights where I would literally just lay in bed and cry, feeling like the worst mom in the world. And knowing that there's just so many other women who experience the same thing, and being in the place where my daughter was just talking to me, I was telling her that I was hosting this circle, and she was just like, oh, what's the circle for? And I told her it was to discuss like understanding anger and look at healing mom rage so I can help other women stop yelling in their home and be able to respond more calmly in the way that they want to be, so they can show up as the moms that they want to be. And she was like, so they can stop yelling like you have? And I was just like, oh, my heart. Like, it's just the shame and the guilt, I think, is probably one of the worst things that can come with it. And you keep finding yourself in the same situation. And what I've learned is that it's the tools, and it was a lack of tools and a lack of knowledge that I had in how to really support myself in those moments and be able to grow and stop the cycle. I really wanted to break the cycle. So that's what the circle is all about, is getting to support women exactly as they are. And in my opinion, and just from my own experience, I think when we can share experiences and realize that that isn't really who we are, but it is an emotional response that more or less takes over before we have any conscious choice over it, um, it's really powerful. There's just something so powerful to be accepted in one of your lowest moments, where often I think we hold those things very deep, afraid to let other people know what you might have, like how you might have handled yourself.
Absolutely. And so this event is this Sunday, and what's the agenda for the
Yes.
day?
We'll do a bit of an opening and a grounding. So that's where I'll just do a little bit of an introduction and share, or not share, guide through nervous system regulation, just some day-to-day practices that moms, people in general, can just use in the thick of life. Because if there's anything that I've learned as a mom, there's just so many moving parts, so much responsibility, and it gets chaotic. And I think the emotional regulation factor, where it's just like, can we imagine if we had the tools or resources? Because we do not learn this in school, where we know how to support ourselves through the day. So I'm just going to walk through some day-to-day practices that I do, but also, for instance, how we can apply it. So like if there was a circumstance that we have some emotional residue left over that maybe just didn't feel good and it's still not feeling good in your body, let's do a little bit of emotional freedom technique. And then we'll have a sharing circle where we get to have those deeper introductions of, for example, what brought me to where I am in wanting to share this journey, but also maybe a recent experience that I've had that was just didn't really feel good, and holding space for other moms as to why they like what brought them here. And then that's where we'll do some intention setting and some journal prompts to uncover some patterns and just understand maybe some triggers that we might be experiencing. And then we get to dive into active revelation breath work. So it's going to be a deep guided breath work for emotional clearing. And then we'll have some integration and reflection space held afterwards where we'll be able to have journaling, inner child healing, and just a sharing circle as to what came up and through their experience. Like I mentioned previously, it's just something that we are like become so tight-lipped about, afraid of what people might think or whatever. And I noticed that the more I began opening up or just sharing that piece with other moms of my, like other friends and moms of like within my circle, it began opening up space for them to begin sharing theirs and for me to like maybe even offer a hug afterwards, knowing that like that's not who you are. And it's just almost been like it's just been healing in that way. So I'm excited. I guess I'm excited for all of it.
This sounds very fun. I am looking forward to it. I hope it's a success. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today and doing the interview, Alyssa.
Thank you so much for having me.